decisive battle, which is obviously, as we'll go over throughout these spoilers here, kind of hinting at this being the obvious last battle between probably Luffy and Kaido, or at least that's kind of what I'm seeing here, as this is the final decisive battle that is about to happen. And for anyone, so obviously we left off with Momonosuke saying to Kaido that he is going to be, the Shogun of Wano, and that Luffy is going to defeat Kaido. And it looks like this chapter is most likely going to start off, and Kaido shoots his bolo breath at Momonosuke, who barely manages to dodge it. So obviously he's still going to be in his dragon form throughout this chapter here, and it looks like Luffy and Momo in some kind of way are almost teaming up and fighting Kaido at the moment. Apparently Momonosuke bites Kaido, who screams in pain, which is quite interesting. So I'm wondering, if because Momonosuke is also, like another dragon, he has enough strength, or his teeth have enough strength to do actual damage to Kaido's skin itself. It would be quite interesting and kind of a good way to get past his, raw defense for someone that perhaps can't use Conqueror's Haki to actually damage him. And then it looks like from the Kaido and Momonosuke moment that we're having here, it kind of swaps over and we get to see Inuyarashi and Nekomamushi, who are losing their Sulong form because the clouds have covered back up the moon. So I'm wondering, because of the clouds covering them back up the moon here, they start to kind of lose their footing in the fight perhaps, and maybe their opponents get the upper hand on them. It'd be quite interesting, because obviously we come back to this later in the chapter here. So I'm wondering, if this moment here that happens in the chapter is like their first part where they start to lose their battle, kind of like how a lot of the Straw Hats had that first start to their battle where they started to lose things, and then towards the end of it they brought it back and won. So I'm wondering if the exact same thing here is going to happen with Inuyarashi and Nekomamushi. From them though, we skip back over to Luffy and Kaido, who attack each other using Color of the Supreme King Haki. And the thing that is absolutely amazing here, and has everyone kind of freaking out and comparing all of a sudden Luffy to Shanks in terms of strength, which I think is kind of ridiculous in a way. I reckon he could stand and fight against him maybe for a little bit, but he wouldn't be able to do much at all, or at least in my eyes that's kind of how I see Shanks. We don't know his true strength obviously, but as it says here, their attacks do not touch, but the impact is so strong that the sky splits in two. Which is obviously, why people are putting, Luffy and Shanks up against each other now. So I'm wondering, if we're going to only get this little bit of stuff that's happening between Luffy and Kaido this chapter, or if we're going to see perhaps more of a battle, or we're just going to get this kind of freeze frame, I guess, of them clashing with their Haki and splitting the sky. I honestly hope it's probably going to be an amazing panel, I could imagine, maybe with Yamato and Momonosuke in the background, kind of circling them while they're clashing. It could be quite cool to see that. But skipping over from Luffy and Kaido, we do go back to Nekomamushi and Inuyarashi, like I was saying. And thanks to, obviously the clouds that have moved, the full moon can be seen again. So Inuyarashi and Nekomamushi have recovered their Sulong form. And in this moment, they defeat both Jack and Perospero. So I do think, like I was saying earlier on in the spoilers here, that that first part will be them probably losing in their fight because their Sulong form has diminished. But as soon as it comes back, they probably get that dominance and end up defeating their opponent, which is so good. So finally, Nekomamushi, has his revenge, I guess you could say, in some kind of way. I really want to see more, obviously, from Luffy and Kaido. I'm wondering if Luffy is in his gear 4th at all. I don't think he is, because obviously at the end of the last chapter he went back just to normal Luffy standing on top of Momonosuke. So I'd say that probably Luffy isn't in gear 4 while he's fighting right now, but it would be quite interesting to see if he is in gear 4 while using Conqueror's Haki, or Supreme King Haki. So yeah, but I'd love to know what you guys all think down in the comment section below for sure. And honestly, I'm quite sad I missed out on last chapter and being able to review it, as I said earlier in the video. That's such an amazing chapter, and being able to read it with the limited battery that I did have on my phone was